thank you for coming out to join me today for a lesson in packing. So the bus is about to depart, so if you can find your seat, put all of your things in the overhead compartments, I would appreciate that. Don't want anybody standing while the bus is in motion. So welcome to the Rick Steves Travel Festival. My name is Sarah Murdoch. I have been a tour guide and a guidebook researcher for Rick Steves for almost 17 years. Before that, I was an architect, and I'm also a mom, and I'm joined today by my oldest son, Luca, who is my cameraman. So yay, Luca! He is sort of my protege. He's going to be a tour guide when he grows up, I think. So he's streaming my talk today live on my Facebook page at Adventures with Sarah. So just a tip for everything today to help sort of alleviate questions that may come to mind. Everything that I'm going to talk about today in my talk, I've written about extensively on my website, which is called Adventures with Sarah. You can find links on Rick's website, but it's just adventureswithsarah.net. I'm also going to be over in the Travel Center after this talk is over today with Luca, who also is very capable for answering questions on packing. He's a little expert of his own. So we're both going to be available for personal questions over at the Travel Center directly after the talk. So if you want to come over and try out the luggage, just one thing, if you're interested in buying a bag today, today we are having a sale in the Travel Center that's not available online. It's only in the Travel Center today. And the discount that we're offering is just for today and just for you guys in the audience. Sorry, Facebook people. So the reason is that we want you to come into our office and actually try this stuff on, put the backpack on your back, pull the wheelie bag, and just make sure it's the right thing for you. So today is your chance to try out all of our products. I'll be there to give you any help if you are interested in trying to figure out what is the right thing just for you. So we'll be there. And lots of the travel advisors over there wearing the Rick Steves shirts will also be able to help you with that stuff. So please come and join us afterwards at the Travel Center for that. And Rick will be in this room after I'm done today, continuing on with his series of travel skills talks. And then also down at the theater, we have a bunch of events going on. So it's a whole day of fun. So I hope you all stick around and keep having a good time travel dreaming. Isn't it nice to think about something not election related right now? I've been blogging all week, and I'm going to keep blogging all week, writing to try and help people have a distraction. So let's think about happy, positive thoughts, or maybe plotting our escape to Europe should the election not go the way we personally want it to go. So those are our choices. So in any case, learning how to pack a bag is a valuable skill overall in general. So let's go ahead and just start by talking about sort of why this is my thing. I'm a tour guide in Italy. I work actually all over Europe as well. I do 9 different itineraries for Rick and the family tours as well. And over this time, I have had to become good at traveling because I travel for up to 4 months a year. Maybe not in a row, but in some cases I'll be gone for 2 months nonstop. Especially when I'm doing guidebook research, I can't take a lot with me because I'm moving constantly. So over time, I've had to develop a system to make sure that I'm as light on my feet as possible and I take as little as I possibly need. And I have to tell you, over 17 years, every single time I go, I take less. I remember the first time I ever went to Europe, I was Luca's age. I was 11 years old, and I took a bag that was bigger than my own body, and it had a leash, and I pulled it like a dog down the street. It was like a Great Dane that followed me throughout Europe. But that was how people traveled in the 80s. Did you travel in the 80s? Did you have that giant bag? I think you did, because that's how people went back then. They brought everything. And not only that, but back in the 80s, people had heavy shoes. Everything weighed more. They didn't have all these high-tech materials that really help our lives now. So it is possible now to travel with far less weight and far fewer things than we ever did before. Another thing is in Europe, in the past of the 1980s, I had to bring everything I could need because I didn't know what they had in Europe. Did they have the right kind of toothpaste? Probably not. Did they have the right kind of shampoo that I would recognize? Probably not. But now, pretty much everything that you can buy in the United States, you can find somewhere in Europe, in Italy, in France, anywhere you can find, or you'll find something that's, good enough for a match. So that I just want to put on the table right there to take some pressure off, because the number one thing all of us feel when we pull away from the house going for a flight is what? What did I forget? You all just said it all at the same time. What did I forget? You know what? As long as you got your credit cards and your passport in your money belt on your body, it doesn't matter what else you have with you. I would say also your phone. I mean, your phone is pretty important. But as long as you have your ID and your credit cards, everything else can be replaced. So no matter what kind of advice I give you today, I just want you to go with that. That's your primary piece of information. If you lost everything, if all your bags got lost and you had nothing else, you can, in Europe, and actually almost anywhere in the world, replace virtually everything with that credit card and passport. So does that feel better? Are you feeling better now? You can pull away from your house and just be like, credit card, passports, I'm good, I'm fine, okay? So that's number one piece of information. Number two piece of information I want you to take away from this class. Nobody ever said, I wish I had brought more. Nobody has ever said that. That has never been a thing anybody has ever said. So take that off the table right now as well. You can always take less. You can always take something out of your bag. I swear to you, if you pack your bags 2 weeks ahead of time, every single day for 14 days, you can take one thing out and leave it behind, and you'll find that you've got everything you need. Because in the end, what do you need? Your passport and your credit cards, okay? So, think about that. Those are kind of the ways to go. So in all these years of traveling and trying to be efficient in how I pack, I have, well, I guess the best way to put this is I like to play Tetris. Do you like to play Tetris? I love packing my car for camping trips because it's like perfectly packed. Of course, at the end of the camping trip, I'm like shoving everything in, trying to load my kids and strap them to the top of the car because I can't put it back in the same way I started. But it is nice to kind of take that attitude towards packing where you take a design sensibility. And this is where the architect piece of my career comes in, is that I've sort of taken my mentality about architecture and I've applied it to my bags. I don't expect all of you to do the things I do because frankly, I'm crazy. And I don't expect you to be crazy too. But what I want you to do is see how a crazy person packs and then take something with you that works for you. Something that I tell you today may work for you. And I get lots of people posting things on my blog saying, I can't pack like you because I'm a man, I have big feet. No, I have bigger feet, I promise you. So all of the things I'm telling you, I do promise you are actually applicable to you. When you see the amount of toiletries I bring, you're gonna say, that's not possible. But I'm telling you right now, all the makeup I'm wearing right now is stuff that came out of my bag that I carry for 2 months a year. So it is possible. All of this is possible, okay? So let's get going. The first thing I want to talk about is bags. How to select the right bag for you. That is a totally personal choice. I'm going to give you my personal take on it. If I were to select a bag for you, I would give you a backpack. And I mean pretty much all of you. Unless you absolutely can't lift anything, and there are people like that I know that can't lift things at all, I would say try to take a backpack. This is our typical backpack. This is one that I've traveled with for many, many years. I would go with a little bit brighter color only because I like to find it on the carousel at the airport, or actually I put patches all over mine and tie something bright to it to make sure I can see it. This is a great bag, and this is one that is carry-on size. This should be your maximum carry-on size for almost every airline in the United States. I actually will either bring this, or I'll even tend to find a slightly smaller one. We have a rolling bag that's even a little bit smaller, because I like to go on those budget airlines in Europe, and they require you to have a much, much smaller bag. This one can actually be cinched down on the sides to compress it to be the right size for just about any airline. The reason I'm talking about a backpack versus a rolly bag is this. If you go into the travel center and you test out the weight of this versus the rolly bag, you're going to see that empty, this weighs virtually nothing. And this weighs several pounds with nothing in it. So right now, because I'm taking a whole strategy with weight, this makes me kind of think, I like the backpack better. And basically the reason I'm doing packing, I love the name of this class, it's called Packing Light and Right, but it's heavy on the light, because light is the strategy I'm employing here. I'm not going to tell you how many pairs of pants to bring. I'm not going to tell you how many shoes to bring. What I want you to do is think about what does it weigh. That's your priority here. You can bring as much as you want. And I actually am kind of like Mary Poppins when I'm traveling, because I have a different outfit for every day of a 21-day tour. I'm not kidding, I really do. But that's because my clothes are all super lightweight, and you're welcome to come up later and actually look at the things that I bring, and you can see I bring lightweight materials, and I bring shoes that weigh nothing. If you have things that weigh nothing, a backpack works just fine, because you can put things in and you can easily lift it. So, I suggest backpacks for this reason. When you are traveling, if you are going to try and catch a plane, it's so often, how often does it happen that you get to the airport and your connection time is really short? I'm always in the Paris airport running like a crazy person because there's always these short connection times. If I have a backpack, no problem. Put the backpack on my back and I run. I can run through that airport if I have to. With the rolly bag, you're kind of dragging in, you're trying to make sure you maneuver around people and you run over people's feet, and it's heavy. and all of these things. So it's not as mobile. That's the number one thing. This bag here, my younger son took with him to Italy this summer, and I was cursing at it almost every day because I'm so used to a backpack. Trying to go up and down the steps in Venice. How many bridges are there in Venice? And you have to lift that up and carry it and then lift it down. I'm not used to that because I have a backpack. In backpacks, you're just footloose and fancy free and you hop from step to step. So if you can possibly manage a backpack, I suggest you consider it. Also, consider a backpack because, let's be honest, it keeps you honest, doesn't it? It's going to force you to pack right. Because if you can't lift it, you need to take things out. If you're going to have to wear it on your back, you need to keep it light. So I think it's really a nice constraint to say, okay, I can only bring as much as I can carry on my back. These bags are very nice and convenient and people love them, and most people on my tours use this bag. But they put everything in it. You could put bricks in it, you could put babies in it, it doesn't matter because it's easy. It's so easy to pull, and you don't notice the weight, except for when you get on that airplane and you try to do this. And then you go, uh-oh, and it almost falls on you, and then you have to ask me to lift it into the overhead for you. So as you can see, maybe this is a totally personal, selfish strategy. I wish you all had backpacks, so I don't have to put your things in the overhead compartment, because they always ask the big, tall, strong woman to do it. So I suggest thinking about this, but no matter which bag you choose, this thing I just did right here, you want to do that. I want you to be able to do that. It's also really good for that flabby skin underneath your arm if you're a lady. You know, this is how I tone my arms in the wintertime. So I suggest you try to pack your bag, get it finished packing, and just attempt to lift it even this high, not even over your head. And if you can, then it's the right weight for you. So almost looking at those tables of weights for airlines, that's almost irrelevant. Because the bigger point is, you need to be able to lift it yourself. So if Delta, I think it's something stupid, it's almost 30 pounds they allow. Most people cannot lift 30 pounds easily over their head. 16 pounds tends to be the weight for European carriers. That's a more manageable weight. That's pretty tough to hit, but you can do it. And how easy is 16 pounds for you to lift? You might only be able to lift 10. So think about that stuff when you're packing, because the weight is where it all comes down. And be really careful if you do choose a wheelie bag. You're going to be so tempted to put everything you own in it, because it doesn't matter, because you're dragging it. But you're not, because think about that. There are days when you're going to take a train, and you have to get up and onto the platform and onto the train. There's going to be a lot of times when you're going to need to actually be able to lift it. So you have to lift it, all right? So take that piece of information when you go bag shopping, and remember, you need to lift that bag. We have several different varieties of wheelie bags and a couple of different backpacks. If you're undecided and you can't figure out which one you prefer, we have a backpack with wheels. So we can also solve your problem for you that way. The only thing about that one is that when you have something that does both, it rarely does either of them the best. You know what I mean? It's sort of like, I don't know, good example, you know, popcorn shrimp. You know, they're not really good shrimp. You know, that kind of thing. It tries to be something that it's not. So, you know what I'm saying. So don't choose something that tries to be what it's not. Choose a backpack, choose a wheelie bag, and figure out the one that suits you the best. I'm going to show you today, and I've packed the bag that my son took, and this one is the rolling wheelie bag. And this one is a good one, the rolling carry-on. Another one that's gorgeous and brand new is the Ravenna, which I haven't tried, but I want to try that on one of my next trips. That is really nice because it's a hard-sided one. And that really keeps you honest because you can't let it out. It doesn't, you know, you can actually expand it, but when you initially pack, it's got those hard sides, so you can't really cheat as much. So that's another good one to look at. So those are a couple of ideas for packs. I do, again, suggest the backpack, but the wheelie bag is just fine if that's what you need. All of our bags have some sort of basic features I want to show you. Almost all of them have this sort of pocket at the front that's good for little things, a pocket up here at the top, and then we have a deeper pocket that goes all the way down the length here. And then the little secret hidden compartment I always forget about that I really like is on a side right here, and it's a jacket flap. So it's open like this, and it's for you to just slip your coat in, which is really helpful. I forget that I have that. And then you can also use these side straps. I strap down either a water bottle or an umbrella sometimes, or like a stinky pair of shoes. You can use the side straps to hold things down. And then this one, not this one, this one here has a zipper that goes all the way around it to kind of let it out a little bit if you end up buying a few souvenirs, which you're not going to do, right? Because your souvenirs are your experiences, right? Right? That's what Rick always tells us to do. But if you happen to be buying something, that is the choice that you have. You can let this one out a little bit and it'll pop up and give you a little more space. So those are some ideas about bags, and as I said, I'll be at the travel center and I can help you kind of look at those together. Another thing you want to do is choose a day bag, and for day bags, you are going to have a lot of different options. Some of you may already have something that you want to use for home. A regular purse is okay. If you don't have a purse that you think is really kind of travel savvy, travel suitable, we have a couple of good options, and I'll show you Rick's favorite. This is the Chivita backpack, and he uses this one all the time. And actually, this one was designed to be something that you could put into this bag. It's made of a super lightweight thin material. You roll it up real tight and you can stuff it in there, and it weighs basically nothing and has the nice little pockets on the side for water bottles. And Rick actually uses this one all the time. I see him on the road, and this is the bag he's got. I personally prefer to use a messenger style bag, and I have sort of a strategy on this. So this is a messenger style bag. This is the iPad for Veloce bag. Other way around. Veloce for iPad bag. And I prefer to carry a messenger style bag because I'm kind of paranoid. I travel in places where there's pickpockets on subways, things like this. And backpacks I don't like because I don't feel like I have control of them. So I like a bag that I can have strapped across my chest like this. So for me, I just walk like this. And let me tell you, pickpocketing is a big deal in Europe. It's not as much of a concern in the United States, at least around here. But in Europe, oh my goodness, everywhere you go, it's so easy to be pickpocketed. And I just want to let everybody know, especially the gentlemen in the room, if you happen to have a wallet you keep in your back pocket and you decide to travel that way, you will be the first one pickpocketed. And it happens every time. So you need to rethink the way you carry your things around, because keeping your wallet in your back pocket in Europe doesn't work. Every time I have men do that, I say to them, unless you put that into your bag, you're going to get pickpocketed. And they say, no, that's not going to happen to me. And within 24 hours, no joke, 24 hours, that wallet is gone. So do not carry wallets in your back pocket. Put them in a money belt, wear your things. And I'll show you in a few minutes our money belt, but I would wear things underneath. And then keep your items that you need in a bag strapped like this. I walk just like this. I rest my arm just like this when I'm walking around Europe. And that's nice because nobody's going to choose to rob me because, look, I've got my hand on my bag. It's not because I'm particularly special. It's because I have my hand on my bag, and there's far easier people to rob than me. I'm also 6'2" and a little scary looking. But other than that, you don't need to be 6'2" and scary looking. It's just if you look aware and you have your hand on your possessions, anybody looking to pickpocket someone is going to go find a person with a backpack or the purse that they're not watching. It's way too easy to find somebody that's easy to pickpocket. So I very much appreciate this kind of bag. It's nice and secure. Nobody can rip it off my body, and if they do, they're going to take me with it. And that would be hard because I weigh a lot. But it's nice to just have something you can rest your hand on and just look like, yeah, I've got an eye on where my possessions are. So that's why I suggest this. There's a lot of different kinds of bags like this out there. This is just one. We have a much larger one called the Veloce, which a lot of people like because it also has a backpack function, so you can do both. It's a little bit unwieldy for me. I like this a little bit smaller bag. You may have a bag at home that will already work this way. One thing I would suggest, however, is to consider this over a backpack for an important reason. In Europe right now, a lot of museums are not allowing backpacks in anymore. And it doesn't matter if the bag I'm carrying like this is like this versus a backpack. The backpack could be smaller, but because it's a backpack, they're not allowing those into the museums. So you have to check it. So when I'm with my tour groups, I always tell people the first night, if you don't have a bag like this, please just go and buy a little shoulder bag. Something as simple as a little shopping bag like this. I bought this when I was on the road just to hand out to somebody who brought a backpack, because you can put your backpack in it and carry it like this. I'm all about creative rule following, I work in Italy. We have a phrase in Italy, it's called the art of arranging things, l'arte di arrangiarsi. So you have to kind of figure out how to arrange things to work for you. So this is a cheat, okay, but here's the reason that they ask you to use a bag like this or like this in museums, is that if you have a backpack on and you're walking around, I don't know, the Louvre, and somebody, talks to you and you turn like this with your backpack on, you're going to knock something off or scratch a painting or something because you're not paying attention to where that bag is. So backpacks are considered to be a little bit dangerous. And have you ever been smacked by a backpack on bus? You're all nodding, yes you have. So wearing those day packs, those always cause problems, and the museums have recognized that. So they are asking you to bring a purse. And if you're a man and you don't feel comfortable with that, we do have another word for it. It's called a merce or a man bag. So merces and man bags are very, very popular with European men. So if you can't quite dig the whole idea of carrying a bag with you, go online and look at the photographs of European men all walking around with their dashing scarves and their nice man bags, and you'll realize that you're just kind of upgrading your style. You know, you're going to come home looking so European. People are going to be like, what's different about you? You're so European now. So I suggest thinking about it. Go and try to find a bag that works for you, messenger style like this. It's so much more convenient also. I don't feel comfortable wearing a backpack anymore. I just feel like I'm too vulnerable having my things on my back. So it's a total style thing. This is my personal suggestion for you, okay? And again, I'll be in the travel center after this to show you some of the different bags. So I think what I'd like to do is I'm going to go ahead and start by showing you what is in my day bag. And this is actually a true story. I'm going to show you the things that I carry with me. There's not much in here. And the reason there's not much in here now is because technology is so amazing. Think about all the things that we used to lug around in our bags. Those books, look at those Rick Steves books. They're like bricks. They're wonderful, but they're heavy. I have them all on my phone now. So I just look them up, or my iPad. I just have them electronically. Or I'll take the books, if I'm working on guidebook research, I'll take the books and I'll cut out the chapters that I'm most interested in. And then I'll put that little sleeve. He sells a little kind of sleeve where you can bind them together. And then I just have this little kind of, pamphlet basically of all the things that I'm going to go and see. So there are different kind of strategies for carrying books, but think about all the other things we don't need anymore. You're going to not see a camera in this bag. I used to carry one of those beautiful DSLR cameras with all the lenses, and I don't do that anymore because think of how much that stuff weighs. Just that camera alone with its lenses weighs like 6 pounds. I have 16 pounds total. That's ridiculous. I'm not going to waste my weight on that. I'm going to bring high heels before I bring that. When in fact my phone takes pictures that I think are really pretty good, especially with all the fun filters and things you can do with Instagram and so on. So as far as the camera goes, I highly recommend just bringing a good smartphone. And then you can play with it. Now I have so much fun using my photographs on social media with Facebook and Instagram and all this, and you can't do that with a regular point and shoot camera. So if you're not technologically savvy, there is a class today on how to use technology in travel, and I would suggest going there if you haven't yet, and get yourself a smartphone. Another nice thing about the smartphone is that you can use them in Europe to do all kinds of things if you have a data plan. I have a T-Mobile plan, and I highly recommend T-Mobile because you can use your phone in Europe for free. Free data, unlimited, just included with your plan. And I use it to stream videos. I'll be on the road and I'll be kind of wandering around and just change my mind. Oh, I think I'm going to go to Florence today. And I'll bring up, booking.com and find myself a hotel, and I'll go to the hotel an hour later. So it's so nice to have something like that now that you can do all of your booking, you can do all of your, tracking reservations. So if you haven't moved over into the technology camp, I do suggest it. I would show you my phone, but I'm using it to stream this class on Facebook. So that's another thing you can do. You can now take live videos and stream them on Facebook. There it is. You guys can see it, my iPhone. I love my iPhone. It also does all kinds of other Swiss Army knife things, like it's a flashlight. Did you know it has a flashlight on it? That's super convenient. So if you haven't gotten comfortable with a smartphone, think about investing even in an inexpensive one. You can get an inexpensive smartphone for $100, something like that. And then you can even go to Europe and get a chip from a local company if you want to keep in contact. But there are companies here in the US that have very inexpensive plans where you can have unlimited data and free or cheap calls in Europe. So that's my first piece of little technology that I keep in my bag. My other piece of technology that I keep in my bag is my iPad, and I do bring both of them. The reason I bring both of them is that I use this like a laptop. So I set this up in my hotel and I type on it, and if I'm actually going to be doing guidebook research, I bring a super thin and light keyboard so it actually functions just like a laptop. I have a really solid case on this though that I've dropped off of second-story windows, and it's been okay. I actually have done that, unfortunately. But this one works fine, and it actually has a nice little stand on the back that folds, so I can set it up and I can watch things, I can play music, I can do whatever I wish with it. So this is a really good thing to have, especially if you're traveling with kids. Tablets have become invaluable traveling with kids because you can do all kinds of wonderful things on long train rides with tablets. We played checkers. I played checkers with my son on the train. How fun is that? So I loaded a bunch of board games for us when we traveled, and it's just a wonderful entertainment tool and way to kind of keep kids engaged and all of that when you're traveling. So iPad and iPhone, these are the only things I bring as far as technology. I don't bring a camera. I don't bring any extra things. I don't bring a laptop. Laptops are a very personal thing. A lot of people feel they need them. You're on vacation, man. Leave the laptop at home. You know, if you can get away with just a phone, you should do that. Leave the office as far away as you can, because technology can kind of be a little invasive these days to our travels. So that's what I've got as far as my technology goes in my bag. Other things in this bag, it's pretty spare. I just kind of keep little things. I've got my glasses and my glasses cleaner in here. I've got a few fun little things that I think are nice finds. One is a Tide stick, very important for making friends in Europe. You can walk around restaurants and look for people that have slopped spaghetti on them and be like, hey, here. And then the locals really like you when you can clean them up. I keep a bite stick, and this is really good for people if you happen to be really allergic to mosquitoes. I get really bad welts when I get bitten by mosquitoes, and a little dab of that makes it go away. And then a little thing of mosquito repellent if you happen to be going somewhere that's a problem. So I've got little things in here. I've got in here my vest, which is really nice, lightweight down vest. And this is so super light and thin, and it was very inexpensive. I got it at Costco for 20 bucks. And it goes into basically nothing. And this is my extra layer, especially if I'm going somewhere where it could be pretty cold in the evening. I can layer this with a sweater or even with another coat if it's really cold. So for off-season travel, I think vests are a really good investment. And then a scarf. I always keep a really lightweight scarf with me of some kind, which I can use for a variety of reasons. I like scarves in any case. They're nice accessories. I mean, this one I'm wearing right now, I just bought for €4 in Piazza Navona because I was cold. But it's also just very pretty. So scarves, if you've never ever worn them, are a super useful thing. Think about all the things you could do with this scarf. I could do an entire class on how to use a scarf. Have you ever seen that James Bond movie, Octopussy, where the femme fatale escapes by wrapping herself up in a scarf and rolling off the balcony? That. I want to do that. So. I won't do that right now for you, but that's coming. That's going to be my next vlog. So. I think it's a lot of fun when you have a wonderful scarf to kind of use it in different ways. I can use this scarf as a picnic blanket. I can use this as a head covering if I'm in Turkey, for instance, and I need to cover my head. I can use it for extra warmth. This is silk, and it weighs nothing and is transparent, but it's super, super warm, so it's very useful. I can also use it as a dress if I need to. And this is where the men in the room are going to think I'm insane. I suggest men carry a scarf too in the summertime. Just buy a really super cheap, thin scarf, because in so many churches and museums, there are times when you need to cover up. I mean, churches, the Vatican Museum, men have to wear pants. They can't show their knees. And I don't want to tell any man in my group in July, when it's 100 degrees outside, to wear long pants to the Vatican Museum where you're going to be shoulder to shoulder. Did you see Rick's pictures? That's how it really is. So if you're going into a super hot, crowded museum where you have to be covered, that's miserable. So what I do is I tell all the men in my groups, go buy a lightweight scarf. You just wrap it around your waist like this, and you're just fine. And I know that that seems crazy, but I'd rather look a little silly for 10 minutes when I'm in Sistine Chapel than to be miserable for a 3-hour tour. So kind of get over it and just think of yourself. Think of Braveheart, right? Think about like being Mel Gibson and how good did he look in a skirt? Come on, you can do it too. So I keep this for all kinds of reasons. I'll wear this at the beach. I'll take this to the beach, and I'll wear this as, you know, just sort of a sarong. And you can tie this in so many ways. I can wear this as a top, too. I can actually turn this and tie this in a way so it looks like a halter top. There are a million things you can do with a scarf. So I recommend that everybody have one with them. I also like to take it and fill it with any kind of soft things on the plane, like my down vest, for instance. And look, now I've got a pillow for the plane. And that's a lot softer and less creepy than the pillow they hand you on the plane, right? So I definitely recommend a scarf for everybody, women and men. Get yourself a nice big scarf. Rick wears a scarf now. If you think you're too manly to wear a scarf, my boss, he wears a scarf and he looks quite fetching, I think. So cultivate your desire for a scarf, because I think it'll be a good thing to have always in your bag. Okay, a couple of other quick things in my bag. Kleenex. Always bring the Kleenex, not because you think you're going to get a cold. Think of all the gross things you might have to touch with your hands or with other parts of your body. So I carry these and I hand them out as free gifts to people as well, because this is something that sometimes you show up at a toilet in Europe and there's no toilet paper, but hey, you're the hero. You've got toilet paper for everybody. So that's something I recommend. I also don't recommend Purell. I don't have Purell in my bag, and I will never carry Purell. I've never seen sicker groups than the people who use Purell, because they decide to do that instead of washing their hands. And think about how gross that is. Do you use Purell? You might. Do you know people that use Purell? Because the people that I know that use Purell, they really don't wash their hands frequently. They think that's a substitute. It isn't. So, washing your hands, singing happy birthday while you do it, that's the way you're supposed to do it. And the people who wash their hands the most while traveling are the ones who don't get sick. Now, it's not always possible, is it, to find a bathroom with soap and water and wash your hands and sing happy birthday to yourself. So, I get these little wet ones, and I keep these. This is from my days of having babies and toddlers, having wet naps with you, but I keep them in a plastic Ziploc bag like this, because they kind of tend to leak on things. But that's another good thing to keep in lieu of Purell or some other kind of hand sanitizer. This actually wipes the grime off of your hands. So that's another thing that always turns up in my day bag. And then my favorite thing in my day bag is something that you will have to kind of assemble for yourself. I call this my box of awesome. This is a 99-cent first aid kit from Target that I have hacked over many, many years into the little chunk of gold that it is right now. You can name almost any low-level travel problem you may have, and I can fix it with my box. In here, I have all kinds of amazing things. And really, you can go and you can come up with your own ideas of how you want to put it together. I have awesome tweezers with the razor-sharp tips that can do all kinds of things from plucking my eyebrows to getting my jewelry out of the sink of the hotel if it falls down there. Tiny, tiny scissors, which are not going to be stolen by the TSA. They're helpful. I like to knit on the plane, so that's really helpful. I've got Band-Aids. I've got emergency double-sided tape. You never know when that's going to be handy. I've got wonderful Band-Aids that say things like, "'Tis but a flesh wound." Those are really helpful. You gotta laugh when you get injured, you know. I have screws for glasses. I have a little screwdriver. I have safety pins. I love my safety pins because you never know when you're going to need a safety pin. You can pin your hotel key to the inside of your bag, for instance. There's lots of great uses for safety pins. Little mini sewing kit, floss. Not just for your teeth, but also, think about it, you can cut cheese with this. That's useful. If you're having a picnic and you didn't bring a knife, that's how they tell you to cut cheese. Did you know that? Just use floss. So floss is great. I can even fill your teeth. I have filling material for teeth in here. I can reattach with this little tube of things. I can reattach your crown if it falls out. So, super glue, that's another good thing. You can kind of come up with endless varieties of things you can put into this little box, but the restraint is keep it in a little box and just kind of use your imagination. Bee sting, leaf pads, all of these great things. And I love carrying this with me because you just never know. You never know what's going to happen, and it's good to be prepared. Can you tell I was a Girl Scout? I think you can. So I like to always be prepared for everything. If you do not feel like doing that, if you're looking at me thinking, I'm never, ever going to do that because I don't have the kind of time you have, well, that's okay, because we actually, somewhere around here, we sell that. We have a thing called the Traveler's Aid Kit, and I'll find that a little while later. It's in the pile here somewhere. And that is a wonderful little kit that I think we sell for about 20 bucks, and it has a few of the things. It's got sewing kit, it's got Band-Aids, it's got, you know, packing tape, all that kind of good stuff in it. So that's something that you might consider having just as a backup for everything else in your bag. So that's basically all I carry, that and a water bottle. I don't have a water bottle in my bag to show you because I don't buy a water bottle, like a real good one, and I'll tell you why. I leave them everywhere. I forget them, and I'm never going to pay $10 for a water bottle because I'm going to leave it. So I just get a water bottle when I get to Europe, and I refill it, just like this Talking Rain one. I might have it for 2 weeks, and then I'll leave it somewhere, and then I won't feel bad about having left it. So that's just my personal tip. I don't like buying a good quality water bottle. I forget it. Same thing with umbrellas. I do suggest, especially in the off-season, to either bring a really super good, lightweight travel umbrella. I searched for weeks to find this one that weighed almost nothing, and it works pretty well, even if it's small. But the thing is, as soon as I take this to Europe, it's going to get lost. I'm going to leave it on a bus. I'm going to put it in one of those things they force you to put it in the front of the shop, like the buckets, and then I leave it there. And I feel like umbrellas are like water. They kind of flow into my life and flow out of my life. So I try not to be, it's like that movie Hello Dolly. Do you remember that movie where she talks about money that way? Money, it flows into your life and it flows out of your life. And it's the same way with umbrellas. They flow into my life and they flow out of my life. And that's okay, so I don't get attached to them because in Europe, think about this, anytime it starts raining, somebody will come to you within about 10 seconds with an umbrella for 5 euros. So you can carry this with you, or just have 5 euros on you. And you may think that sounds weird, but it's absolutely true. As soon as the water hits the pavement, those guys with the 5 euro umbrellas, they pop out of the ground, and they help them, and they're handing them to you. So buy one ahead of time, and try to keep hold of it, or just wait till the water hits the stones. Just always keep 5 euros, and call that 5 euros your umbrella. You can even make a little envelope with it with a picture of an umbrella on it. Be like, that's my umbrella money. It's 5 euros, 4 euros if it's a downpour, 3 euros if it's really, really pouring. I don't understand that logic, but that's the way it works. It's the harder it's raining, the cheaper the cost of the umbrellas. Oh, here's the Traveler's Aid Kit. This is what we're selling in the office that's already pre-made for you. So if you want to go check that out, you can see what's inside. So that's a nice cheat if you don't want to assemble it yourself. Alrighty, so that's what's in my day bag. Let's have a look now at what is inside my bag. This is a true story. These are the things that I took out and washed. You're so lucky, I washed them for you this time. Last time I did this packing class, I had 24 hours from the time I stepped off the plane until I came and did this talk. And so everything was very fragrant. So you are fortunate, I have washed everything. These are actually the clothes that I travel with for up to 2 months at a time. This bag can carry 2 months worth of clothes, and I swear to you it's true. And this is how I do it. It's this scale. This scale is the difference between me and every other traveler. So invest in something like this if you don't have one already. It's a kitchen scale, really super accurate. And this is how insane I am. If you look at anything in my closet, anything, I can take this off and even show you. I bought this from Eddie Bauer. I thought it was really cool. And I took it home and I was dismayed when I weighed it because it weighed 6 ounces. And I try to be under 5 ounces. But I take things like this as soon as I buy them, and I bunch them up, and then I put them on the scale like that, and I find the weight, and then I get a Sharpie, and I write on the back in Sharpie how much it weighs. And that sounds like, I know you're smirking at me and you're going, I'm never going to do that. Okay, that's fine, but I'm just giving you ideas, because here is the crazy thing. I have an example of an outfit up here that you will think is a good travel outfit. Look at this nice lightweight tank top. It's one of those Ponte knit travel tops. Never wrinkles, always looks awesome, okay? Cost me a fortune. And then there's these lovely pants from Athleta that are made for traveling, and they have hidden pockets, and they're supposed to be quick drying. Oh, and they have the ankle buttons, which I love. They're going to roll up if you need them to roll up. And they're travel friendly because they're made of this same knit. Do you know that this weighs, these two things weigh more than a pair of jeans, a cashmere sweater, and a top underneath? It's true. And you would never know that just looking at them, because all of these so-called travel-friendly fabrics, they're a scam, and do not buy that snake oil. They are trying to just upsell you these terrible Ponte knits. Of course they don't wrinkle, but you know what? They weigh, this top weighs as much as 3 of the regular tops in my bag. You can come and see it later. You can feel it for yourself. I like to wear silk or lightweight cotton, because those are natural fibers that actually breathe. These are so stinky. One of these kind of tops that I bought, I think I bought it at Athleta, and it is so stinky I had to throw it away, even after washing it over and over again with vinegar. Those kind of fake fibers, they really trap stink in, even if they say they don't. So they don't wash well. They may drape and look beautiful, all drapey, but they weigh too much, they make you sweat, and they're not travel friendly at all, in my opinion. So when you get those catalogs from those fancy travel companies that are charging $300 for a pair of pants and pockets, throw them away, go to Target, buy yourself a $10 pair of cotton pants, and call it good. Because actually what I tend to do is I'll shop on the clearance rack at Target. And I will tell you why. Actually, Target, Gap, anywhere you like to buy clothes, go and look on the clearance rack. Because the cheapest clothes in those stores are going to be made of the thinnest fabric. Think about that. That's true. Thin jeans are the cheap jeans. Buy cheap jeans because if they're thin, they weigh less. Also, don't spend money on the clothes you're going to travel in. You know why? You'll lose them. You'll ruin them. You will. And there's nothing you can do about it. If you bring something expensive, it's going to get lost or stolen or ruined pretty quickly. The only exception I would say is cashmere sweaters. Those are worth it if you take good care of them and you keep track of them, because they're really nice and light and warm. But other than that, I'm so hard on things. I would never spend a lot of money on travel clothes. I can guarantee you that in your closet right now, you've got a perfectly acceptable travel wardrobe. You just haven't discovered yet because you haven't gotten your scale out. So go and get your scale out and find out what your travel wardrobe looks like. Also, you don't want to be looking like you just got back from the Gobi Desert, do you? And most of those travel clothing companies have all the vest pockets, you know, and you look like a zookeeper. I don't know why people dress like that. I walk through St. Mark's Square and I can pick out all the Americans because they look like the zookeepers with the safari hats and the vests with the pockets. You're going to Italy, man. You don't need to dress like that. Dress nice. Italians, they dress nice. Wear black, lots of black, because it's stylish but also doesn't show the spaghetti stains. So you want to absolutely dress nicely. Don't dress even like you do in Seattle. If you're going to pick out your clothes, just remember people in Europe tend to dress a little bit nicer than we do. So kind of up your game a little bit, bring accessories, kind of wear that scarf if you're a guy, wear a necklace if you're a woman. Try to just up your game a little bit, but keep it light and keep it sort of natural fibers that breathe, things that you can wash easily and it will dry, relatively quickly. Those are the things I think that are kind of the most important. So all of this travel fabric stuff, just throw that stuff away. Don't buy that, return it if somebody gave it to you as a gift. You already have clothes in your closet that'll work. One other story that I have to tell you, my very first tour I ever did in 2000, there was a woman on my tour who was quite elderly and she'd saved her whole life for her only trip. She lived in her car. She was on a Rick Steves tour and she saved her whole life for this trip. It was amazing. She worked at the Goodwill and lived in her car. She brought in her suitcase, a suitcase full of clothing that she had gotten at her job at the Goodwill, things that they were going to throw out. And what she did is every single day when we left the hotel, she'd leave an outfit on the bed and she put her souvenirs in. And she did it all the way through the trip until the last day of the trip. She opened up her bag to show me and all she had was souvenirs and clothes on her back. Now that woman should be on this stage and not living in her car. That was an amazing feat and what a clever way to go about it. So there you go, there's another idea. There's a wonderful Goodwill here in Edmonds that has gorgeous things. They even have cashmere sweaters up there. Go to the Goodwill and buy some clothes that are nice looking but you're not attached to. Because you're going to ruin them. I swear to you, your clothes, you're gonna ruin them. Because that's just the nature of travel. Travel is hard on things. I've been doing it for a long time, let me tell you. All right, so what's inside my bag? I'm just going to pick this up for my friends on Facebook. Have a look. Oh, wait. That's how the bag is put together. It's like a puzzle. And I love that our bags and our packing cubes and things are all sort of put together to be like a sort of a puzzle. So what I've got in here is I've got this zippered compartment here that carries my shoes. I have 4 pairs of shoes with me. And I carry 16 pounds of luggage. And you can do it too. So, I swear, I promise. This is my little pouch that has all my electronics stuff in it. So it's cords, chargers, things like that, extra batteries. So that just clips on. This is something I found at, I think it was Target for a couple of bucks. Little mesh sack with a clip on it. And then I have the things that organize me. And if you don't have packing cubes or you've never heard of packing cubes, you need to come and drink this Kool-Aid, let me tell you, because if you are not using packing cubes, I am sad for you. You need to do it. Packing cubes are the difference between happy travelers and sad travelers. And actually, some of my colleagues I can't even get on board the packing cube train. But the ones I have are very grateful because once you get on board this train, you're going to love it. The way packing cubes work is you can, in your own way, come up with your strategy for how to isolate your possessions. My isolation of possessions: toiletries bag, underwear, socks, bras bag, swimsuit and nightgown as well. And then this is my tops. And then this other thing in the bottom is a folder that has my pants in it. Okay, so pants, dresses, things that need to be folded, I keep in here. Things that can be rolled, which all of my tops for the most part are okay to be folded and rolled. And I know this is a big internet debate. It's a thing on the internet. Pack it folded or rolled. And some people like to do this thing where they stack all of their clothes together and fold them all into a giant burrito, which I think is crazy. And I'll tell you why. The reason I do this system is that if I need something, I can find it like that. I open up my bag and I go, oh, I wanted that red top. Oh, look, there's the red top. I can see it right there. So I can unpack my bag, find that red top, put all these pieces back together, close the top and zip it up. And it took me no time. Oh, I want my wool socks. I have on my cotton socks. I want my wool ones. Oh, here's my bag with my sack that has my underwear and my socks and my bras in it. Okay. And I'll unzip it and I'll find my socks. That's why you want to do it this way. It's just a compartmentalizing kind of thing. You can come up with your own system. Some people like their pants rolled and their shirts folded. I don't really care how you do it, but this is what I suggest. And we sell these in the travel center, and I love that they're mesh because you can see through and you can see where your things are. So that's what works for me, and I definitely recommend you think about that. So the first thing I'm going to show you out of this part of the bag is my toiletries kit. This is the most hotly debated piece of my packing talk, I will tell you, because the ladies in the audience are never going to agree to this. But you can do it. I promise you, you can do it. You don't need more than 3 ounces of any liquid. You really don't. And if you actually think you do, here's a good trick. You can have 10 bottles that are 3-ounce size of anything. So take your giant bottle of whatever it is you need and get a bunch of little bottles and fill them up. And they'll still work as long as they fit into a Ziploc bag, just that one Ziploc bag, okay? I will be quite honest, I don't use this toiletries kit. I'm going to show you how this one works because this is what works for most humans. I am not that human, and I'm going to show you mine, and this is where I'm going to lose y'all. This is my toiletries bag. And this is everything. This is soap, this is shampoo, conditioner, all of my makeup, all of my prescriptions, my contact lenses, everything. And I know you're all like, I see you shaking your heads. You can do it too, and I'm going to show you some tricks. So this, look at these two, okay? And just remember, everything that's liquid is going to have to go into this bag anyway, because this is that 3-1-1 size, okay? You can do it. Take a deep breath and let all of that stuff you put in your hair go. You don't need it. You have beautiful hair. You do. I promise you. You are attractive without all of that makeup. I promise you are. And you're traveling, and it's not a beauty show. But if you need those things, you can do them in a really small way, and I'll show you. My hair, my face, all of this is done with the things that I'm showing you right now. So it really, and don't you tell me I'm some young thing that can do that. I'm 42, so I don't have magic serum in here, but I can tell you, you don't need all that stuff. So let me show you what I do have. These are my shampoo and conditioner bottles. I got these at Target for $1 in the dollar section. I dumped out the soap that was in them because it was yucky soap. I took my favorite shampoo and conditioner, filled them up all the way, and set these on my counter for a week, and they evaporated. And then I filled them up again, and they evaporated more. And I concentrated all of my shampoo and conditioner into these 2 bottles and had enough for 2 months. You don't need to buy expensive concentrated shampoo and conditioner. Concentrate your own in your own kitchen. Easy to do. And look how nice these bottles are. They stack. I like the shape. So I'm always looking for shapes. I look at Target at the trial size section, and I look for the 3-ounce size that kind of works best to fit into my container. These fit really nicely into my container. Okay? So that's my shampoo and conditioner. You guys have gotten awfully quiet all of a sudden. My toothbrush does take up a little bit more room, but I have really bad teeth, and so I bring, not a Sonicare because they're too heavy, but I bring this little Sonic toothbrush. Can you hear that? Isn't that cute? This has had the same battery for 2 years. One little AAA battery, and I use, I can get replacement heads for it. They sell this at the Savvy Traveler down the street. I also have a link on my blog to it. I really like this little toothbrush. It's not as good as a Sonicare, but at least it makes me feel like it's as good as a Sonicare, so that's something. And then a little tube of toothpaste. I bring a tiny tube of toothpaste, realizing I can buy another tube of toothpaste in Italy. No problem. They have the same toothpaste there that we have here. So that's my toothbrush, toothpaste. Oh, floss. There is floss in here as well. Razor is in here. And then I have just a nice little comb that my kids bought me. That's my perfect little comb. Face lotion. Face lotion is important even for men. Please don't forget to put face lotion in, because this has SPF in it, and everybody should be putting a face lotion on when they travel, because you're going to be outside a lot more than you are at home. You're used to being in an office or in your house a lot, and and especially men who don't wear face cream normally, you're going to get sunburned, and I see it all the time. So I would really like to ask the men to think about getting a nice face cream with an SPF, and just get in the habit of putting that on after you take a shower in the morning, and then you won't get burned noses. Also be sure to get the tops of your ears. So I put the tops of my ears, nose, and face in the morning, and then you've got your suntan lotion on your face all day. On top of that, for the ladies, my next step for my beauty regime is mineral foundation. This stuff is amazing because it is a mineral foundation that's also a sunscreen. And a dermatologist on one of my tours suggested that I move to this because I can use it as a really good sunscreen on hot days, even on my shoulders. And it gives you a super even complexion. This stuff is a miracle, and it weighs nothing. I got a little brush. I actually bought a powder I didn't want just because I wanted the brush. Look how cute that is. It's so little. So I look for things like this. How can I minimize and make things smaller? The rest of my beauty regime, waterproof mascara, super important, even for the men. You know, you want to look beautiful. But it won't bleed that way. I like to have makeup that I put on only in the morning, and then I don't have to think about it the rest of the day. So waterproof mascara, and my Miracle lipstick. It's Color Stay Lipstick by Revlon. This stuff I've been using for, 10 years, and a colleague turned me on to this. This stuff will not come off of your lips. You put it on in the morning, you don't put your lipstick on again, you go to bed, you have to scrub it off before bed. Fabulous stuff if you like to wear lipstick. That's it. That's pretty much it. And that's probably all you need. If I'm feeling really frisky, I bring myself a little tiny thing of eyeshadow for fancy nights, if I'm having a fancy night. So you can find just the tiniest little bits of makeup if you need that stuff, and minimize it as much. And here's my extra special little new find. I found this in Italy. This is concentrated deodorant. They claim you only have to put it on once a week. Apparently, I'm unusually stinky because I got it to last 2 days. But still, 2 days is pretty good, although I felt so bad for my group because I told my group, I'm going to test this out, so if I'm smelling my Under Armour kits all the time, that's why I was doing this all the time, just to make sure that this stuff worked. But it actually does. You can find these on the internet as well, these concentrated lotion deodorants. This is so much better than that big fat stick. So you can find products like this that will help you minimize the contents of your bag really small. And then this is the do as I say and not as I do portion, because you should bring your medications in their original packets and tubes. I don't. I have a little Altoids tin. I get as many pills as I think I'm going to need for my trip, and a little more. I add about 10-20% just because you never know what's going to happen. I put them in here, and then I photograph the bottles with my phone. So that if anybody ever asks what it is that I have, I can show them the prescriptions with my phone. So I've never been stopped. I've never had a problem. But I leave that up to your discretion how you wish to do it. But that's how I carry all of my prescriptions. So that's basically the contents of my case. I have hair fasteners up here. I have these lovely little hair clips that you can clip onto anything. You can use it for a lot of purposes. And then there's a nice pocket in the back of this one. This is why I like this toiletries kit. It's got a little pocket in the back that I keep my contact lenses in. The men in the room are going to want to close their eyes for a second. Yes, ladies, we do have to carry beauty products for our other body parts. You can find tampons that are half size. You have to go look for them, but you can find them, and they're compact and they weigh nothing. So you can put those into your bag, and then you can have all of those things you need taking up less than half of the amount of space you thought you need. Does that make sense? You guys are still looking at me with big scared eyes. It's true that this is what I carry. I'm not kidding. Oh, and actually on the contacts, I wanted to point out, I use daily use contacts, and I throw them away. And doing that means I don't have to carry around the lens solution. And it's much easier for me that way. This was a great solution that my optometrist came up with. So if you wear contacts, think about doing daily use while you're traveling. It's a little more bulky packaging-wise, but it's much easier than having to carry a solution around with you. Okay. Any questions about that before I move on? Because you all look shell-shocked. Yes, ma'am? Yeah.
How do you condense yours down to a smaller
Of which product?
of your clothes?
How do I condense it all down? Everything I just showed you, it all fits into this. And you know why I know that? Because I took it out of here and put it in this. It all fits. And I can put it back in and I'll take it to the travel center later and you can see. This is the size of that baggie, that magical baggie, this one here, which is the size that the airline allows. This is actually a little bit smaller. This is from Tom Bin. It's fairly expensive, but I've had it for like 9 years, so it's pretty bulletproof. Using a regular baggie if you don't travel much is good. Yes, ma'am?
I haven't talked much about clothing for winter time.
I'm getting it right now.
Winter.
It's almost as if I paid you to say that. Thank you for asking. Yes, we're going to move on to clothes right now. So what I'm going to show you today, because we are approaching the off-season, I've had a lot of people email me asking me about what to take for the winter time. My strategy here is going to be layers. Layering is the best way to go about packing super light and having everything you need. So I suggest this bag that I'm going to show you right now is great for any time of year, but you can reinforce it a little bit with warmer things and take out the lighter things if you wish. So let's get going first of all with the sexy part of the show, the underwear part, yeah? Let's have a look and see what kind of underwear I bring. I didn't bring the sexy bras today, sorry about that. I bring 3 bras, 1 on my body, and I bring 2 in my bag. And the reason is that a bra is the thing that if it goes wrong for me, I've got a problem because I can't find one in Europe. So I bring spares, and having 3 bras is great. I take one off, put it in the shower, wash it while I'm washing my hair, and hang it up to dry, and then it's ready to go back in the bag the next morning. So 3 bras. I don't think I would ever take less than 3 bras. I also bring in here my swimsuit. My swimsuit is pretty ingenious because I wear a bikini, and you can and should too, FYI. Don't roll your eyes at me about that one. If you wear a one-piece, you're going to be the only woman on the beach wearing a one-piece. And I don't care how old you are. Even the people who are well over 100 turn up on the beach in a 2-piece bikini. But what I love about the 2-piece is that, oh look, I don't have any clean bras or underwear. Or do I? No one will ever know. So that's what I wear when I go to the... If you ever see me in a laundromat in Europe, I can guarantee you what's underneath my clothes. It's my bikini. So there you go. Bikini, 3 bras plus a bikini, black underpants because, black is good. I like black. And I would encourage you, if you have never been a fan, I bring actually 8 pairs of underwear, 1 on my body, 7 in the bag. If you are not a fan of this type of underwear, you may want to consider going that direction, and I'll tell you why, because you can bring 15 of these in the same weight as 5 of the others. And your man will actually probably be really in favor of that plan. So, I leave it to you, and I don't wear lacy because I'm sexy, I wear lacy because it dries really fast. So go to the rack, Nordstrom rack, and look on their underwear carousel and look at all the clearance stuff. They're all really ugly colors, but you can get some really lacy, lightweight stuff that dries like that, and that's the point. You want it lighter, you want it to dry faster. It's not about the sex appeal, that's just an extra bonus, and I bet that your husband won't mind paying a little more for that stuff, so just saying. So that's the underwear plan. I bring 7 or 8 pairs of underwear. I do the same with my bra. I get into the shower, I take off my bra and underwear, and I wash them while I wash my hair. Hang them on the shower head. In the morning, I come back before I take my next shower, and I've got a fresh pair of underwear and a bra waiting for me. And that's an old backpacker trick that I learned, when I was probably 20. And I still use it. My socks, I'll do the same thing with my socks. And if you do that every day, you can go almost a whole trip without doing wash. You can maybe do an official laundry wash once a day, or once a trip. And consider that washing your clothes in Europe is outrageously expensive. It's like $20. It's stupid. You could almost buy new clothes for the amount of money, and that's self-serve. If you go and actually have somebody wash your clothes in Europe, it's insane. It could be 100 euros to have somebody wash your clothes. My clothes are not even worth 100 euros, so why would I do that? That's why I keep doing laundry washing in the sink or in the shower, and I just keep going with that if I can. Socks, even in the summer, I always bring 1 pair of these. You all have these on your feet, don't you? The Costco wet merino wool socks. Oh, you know you do. Most of you have these Costco merino socks on. These are so warm and cozy. So I bring 1 pair of really nice merino wool socks for the plane. Even if I'm going in August, I bring these and I wear these on the plane just to keep my feet nice and cozy. And sometimes if you're in a hotel, even in the hot summer nights, you can have hotels that have overly aggressive air conditioning. So always bring warm socks no matter what time of year you're going. If you're going at this time of year, you might want to only bring this kind of a sock. But I love the merino wool ones. They're soft and they're extra, extra warm. And they don't have to be the expensive ones. These are at Costco. They're $10 for 4 pairs. So that's a great deal. In the summertime or other times, I like to wear the little kind of socks that just kind of go up to my ankles. Partially because, again, I'm worried about washing and drying. So I'll wash and dry these little ones, and they'll dry real quickly. And I'll bring maybe 3 pairs. In the same amount of weight as 1 pair, I can bring 3. So I just go with the small ones. Always black, again, because you just never know what's going to happen on the road. So I would never bring anything white. People that wear white are insane. Or they're goddesses. I have seen people on my tours that wear white every day and they never have a spot. And I don't know how you do that. If you know how to do that, maybe it's Southern ladies, I'm not sure. If you know how to do that, come and tell me, because I want to know that secret. That's a different blog, that's not my blog. All right, so that's what's in my underwear compartment. And then in my tops. In my top compartment, I roll everything. I fold things in half and then I roll them like sausages, and that way I can see what I have. And then this is how organized I am. I even stack them in order. So, sleeveless, 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 short sleeve, 3/4 sleeve, long sleeve, long sleeve, long sleeve sweater. That's how I like to stack it. That's overboard, I know. But it's nice because in the morning I wake up and I just look out the window and I go, oh, it's raining and 55 degrees. I'm going to be on this end of my bag. I actually knew a guy in college who wore the same outfit every day, but it wasn't the same outfit. It was the same outfit. He had 10 of the same flannel shirts and 10 of the same pants, and he wore it every single day. He'd just pick out a clean one. And I always thought that was so crazy, but there's some sense in that, you know? So something to think about. Maybe you just bring the same thing in your bag. I'll have to investigate that possibility. So this is what I do. I like to wear sleeveless tops, and I know a lot of women say, I would never wear a sleeveless top because of this. Yeah, I got that too. It's okay, you can wear sleeveless tops. And I think bringing sleeveless tops is smart because they can be a base layer. So just bringing them as a base layer, especially if you have skin that's sensitive and other things bother you. I wear these as a base layer, and then I'll put over the top different things depending on the heat of the day. And what's nice is by the end of the day, I can have worn 10 different versions of the same outfit and just keep layering. So I'll wear a base layer like this, just a nice cotton tank top, a really nicely fitted one. And then these silk tops like this are just a miracle. I think I got this, I think I paid $5 for this at the rack. It is silk, so it weighs nothing. I can just toss it over the top, and I can kind of change it up in different ways. It used to be white, that's why I don't wear white, because everything turns weird colors. But that's a good idea, is to bring any kind of silk things because they weigh nothing and they're ultra lightweight. I think tops like this are a wonderful idea also. I bring kind of basic colors on the bottom, black, blue, gray, and then I try to bring tops that I can kind of have that are a little bit more interesting looking. So red or something to kind of spice it up. And men, I would say the same for you. Bring bottoms that are just really neutral, but try to bring some tops that you can kind of spice it up with. Because in Europe, you're going to find, even the men in the room are going to find that they're going to feel a little underdressed. People in Europe just dress more fancy than we do here. And also, by the way, your clothes are too loose. You're all wearing clothes that are too big for you. Every one of you. I promise, it's true. Every one of you are wearing clothes that are too big. This is not how they dress in Europe, not because they dress better. They dress more fitted. So they have things that adhere to their bodies more. So think about that when you're packing, that's just another thing. So a shirt like this is really nice that has buttons because you can unbutton it and you can wear it open or closed, wear it like a vest, or you can wear it like a regular top. So the other thing I really love is sweaters that are super sheer. This sweater I bought in Italy, and it's a really sheer Angora that's super lightweight and airy. So I can just layer this on with several layers underneath it. And then staple it everywhere. So I'm going to just kind of quickly set this aside and show you my bottoms, and then we'll do the fashion show portion, if that sounds good to you. So the bottoms are pretty light and simple on this particular trip. I'm assuming this is a 2-week bag. I'm assuming I'm going for 2 weeks. If I'm going at a time of year when I might run into a little bit more weather, I bring 3/4 length pants. Men should find these too, because these are acceptable in churches. If you can find shorter pants, this is another solution to being able to get into churches. I always look for ones with the buttons at the ankles, because you can roll them up and turn them into shorts. So that's a nice thing to look for if you can find pants that have the buttons or zippers at the ankles, and then you can transfer them. Shorts are something nobody wears. They just don't wear shorts. So I typically would never bring shorts. I'll bring a skirt, or I'll bring pants with the buttons that I can roll up. I have a pair of nice lightweight black pants that weigh virtually nothing. And these are nice because they can go over these leggings I'm wearing. So if it's cold, I'll put on these leggings, and I'll put these pants over the top, which I'll do that right now. These are really nice lightweight pants. You can find pants like this at a lot of different shops. Some people like things that are kind of more elastic waist. That's fine too. So there's that. If it's cold outside, this may be my base layer. I'm going to have underneath my leggings. I'm going to have on my tank top. And then I'm just going to pile a sweater over the top of that. And then if it's especially cold, I go back to my vest that I had on earlier, which is here somewhere. And I'm going to go ahead and add the vest on top of that. And if that's still not enough, I've got my scarf, which I showed you, this magical scarf earlier. Fold it in half with your hand through, wrap it around. That's how most Europeans wear it. And there you go. Now I've got a new outfit, and I'm super warm. And these are all super lightweight layers. This layer of pants, this weighs nothing at all. So this is just one way to change up one thing or another. The other thing I really like with these leggings I'm wearing is that you can wear dresses with leggings. And this is a really popular look in Europe right now, to wear dresses with your leggings. And a lot of people don't feel comfortable wearing dresses, a lot of women. I'm going to suggest you get comfortable with it because European women look so pretty. They look so put together and stylish. Why do they look so pretty and stylish? It's because they wear dresses. They're more feminine than we are. And I think it's nice. It's nice to wear a dress. It's nice to look a little bit fancy. But dresses are a magical travel item because they weigh nothing. This weighs nothing. This weighs, I think, less than a t-shirt. It's just made of kind of a cotton gauze. So what I can do is I can wear, even on a winter day like this, this is a useful dress. Because I'm just going to put it right on, and I'll show you how to turn it into a winter outfit. Put on a cute little summer dress, like so. I have my tank top underneath it still, keep me a little warm, a little underlayer. And then I've got my nice little cashmere cardigan sweater that I can put over the top. And there you go. Now I'm all dressed up, and I can wear this in the winter time, and it's feminine. And then if I happen to be going into places with multiple temperatures, and it gets really hot, I can take the leggings off. And I've done that before. In the summertime, I've started off with an outfit just like this, and then it gets to be a little bit hot. And I'll just kind of go and find a bathroom and take off my leggings, and kind of peel off the layers throughout the day, do a little striptease. And then I'm always comfortable. So this is the way you kind of dress things up. You can kind of change it up by using different layers. You can also do sort of a combination
of dresses and pants. These dresses are just so fun. I look everywhere for these. This is from Old Navy. It was $5, but just super light dresses that you can use in different ways. This is a dress I made with pockets. I'm going to try and figure out a good pattern for things like this. Pockets are useful. So I have in this bag 2 dresses, 2 pairs of pants, and a pair of capri pants. And this is what all I would bring for that amount of time, for a couple of weeks. That would be fine. And every day you can just kind of look at these things and kind of say, how can I dress these up and layer them today? You know, if you were really super crazy, you could even wear these things all together, couldn't you? Oh, you laugh, but it's true. Watch how crazy this is. You can wear a dress as a top. Look at that. I just turned a dress into a top. So, there. And I'm nice and cozy, too. So if you look around for different things in your house that you can kind of dress up, let's see what other pieces I can put in here. Oh, let's see. Oh, this is fun. I found this as a lightweight gauzy sort of thing that just sort of drapes over all of your clothes. I know the colors clash, but it's just sort of an example. You can kind of wear things like this. There we go. Now I've got a different outfit. So this is the fun part. I had those fashion plates when I was a kid, that toy you could play with and you could move all the different fabrics around. I do that with my clothes before I leave. I have my best friend come over and she sits, and she's my fashion consultant. And we go through everything, and we try to make as many combinations as we can. And you know what's really funny is my tour members who come on tour, they always eventually come to me, even if they don't know that I do the packing stuff. And by the end of the trip, they say, how did you wear a different outfit every day? I didn't, but what I did is I wore a different outfit in a different way every day. So it is possible to change it up. And when you're traveling, who cares? You're not trying to impress other people with your outfits. I just get sick of my clothes. And so that's why I do it. It's more for myself, because I get so sick of looking at the same things. So think about ways you can dress things up, change them up. One real quick thing before we finish about coats. This is something that is on your mind, I'm sure, if you're traveling in the wintertime. What kind of a coat should you wear? This is such a big topic, and shoes. Coats and shoes are very important. Coats, the best thing I can tell you is in the summertime, look for a down coat like this that you can bunch up into a little pocket. This one came with a pocket, just like that down vest. Down is so wonderful. I wore this from August all the way until the end of October, and this was a great coat. If you're going off season, I suggest a parka, one that's longer like this. This is also super lightweight. This is my everyday coat here, but this is a coat I found specifically for travel, and I really like this coat. Just a nice, simple parka, and it's so cozy on an airplane. It's like sleeping in a cocoon. So I recommend finding something like this that fits you well. In the summertime when it's hot, I bring a black fleece. But do you notice that it can be any color as long as it's black, right? Black coat. You do not want a colorful coat in Europe. Wear a black coat. Also, just because, let's say you go to the opera, and you don't go to the opera normally, are you really going to show up in your neon orange REI waterproof coat going to the opera? You're going to feel a little silly. So I like to bring black just because it's sort of a little more socially acceptable in Europe. Just always black coats. And then I always go with black shoes. And this is the part that most people get really frustrated about, is shoes. Shoes weigh a lot, and a lot of people tell me there's no way I could bring 4 pairs of shoes because my feet are too big, or I have to have special shoes, or something like this. These days, it's possible to bring as many as you want. What I bring are Skechers. These Skechers are super popular these days. They weigh nothing. They're like wearing marshmallows on your feet, and they come in virtually every size. They are so, so lightweight. I put them on the scale. I take the scale with me to Nordstrom. And my poor son over there, he knows because he's been embarrassed by me before. I sit around with my scale in the shoe department. Yeah, I know, he's over there going, yeah, it's true. So I weigh all of the shoes just to make sure they're at the right weight before I buy them, because that can be a determining factor. If you've got 3 pairs of shoes that are equally interesting to you, weigh them before you buy them, and you may find that one is significantly lighter. These weigh absolutely nothing. The other ones that I have that are super light, these are called Metrolights, and I think they're Asics. And these have lasted 2 tour seasons, which is absolutely unreal to me because I kill shoes. But what I did is, they're ultralight shoes, and I ripped out the cheap sole that was on the inside, and I bought these Superfeet ones, and I put them in the inside. And I turned cheap, lightweight shoes, well, they're not cheap shoes, but lightweight shoes, into really good walking shoes. This sole has a nice hard arch, and you can find ones that fit your type of foot the best. And that's the magical ingredient to turn any pair of shoes into an excellent walking shoe. And then I always bring with me sandals if it's summertime. These sandals I really like. I bought these really cheaply at the rack because I didn't really love them, but they turned out to be a pair I love. They're ultralights, they have a cork footbed. So this kind of Birkenstock sort of sole are really nice for people's feet, the cork ones, and they also weigh nothing. So a nice pair of sandals that feel good on you. For men, I absolutely recommend Birkenstocks. They make them in some really nice looking styles now, and Europeans wear them too. So I would recommend thinking about that. And then I do suggest for everybody, if you're going in the summertime, to bring flip-flops. Flip-flops are super tacky. They're so tacky to wear on the streets of Europe. You would not want to wear them walking through Florence. But I found these amazing ones that look like high heels. And they actually look dressy enough to wear anywhere. And the reason I suggest flip-flops for everybody, men and women both, is that when you go to the beaches, a lot of the beaches in Europe are not sand beaches. They're gravel beaches. And you get there and you can't walk because it hurts too much. So I wear shoes. What if you are in a hotel where you have to share your bathroom with other rooms? You need flip-flops to go in the showers, things like that. So always bring the flip-flops. They're nice to have around also because they weigh nothing. And sometimes after you've worn the same pair of shoes every day for 2 months, you cannot stand to look at that pair of shoes, and your feet cannot stand to be in that pair of shoes. And having an alternate is so important. I think foot comfort is one of the most important things you can think about, because if your feet hurt, you're not going to have a nice trip. So you may think I'm crazy to bring 4 pairs of shoes, but actually, I trade my shoes every day, and I have not had a blister in 10 years. 10 years. And I walk 5 to 10 miles every day with my groups, and I haven't had a blister in years. It's just this changing your shoes in and out, never wearing the same pair for a long time, and being really careful. So that's what I suggest, is bring at least 2, 1 pair of sandals, 1 pair of walking shoes. My third choice would be a pair of flip-flops to have. And if you're going to go crazy and bring a 4th, especially for women, I would say a ballerina flat, something really lightweight that you can pack. That can be your extra pair for when the other 3 just will not work for you. Rick brings 1, I think. And you can do that, especially if you're on a shorter trip. But I'm gone for a very long time, and that's why I go ahead and I spend my weight this way. So that's just a choice. So that's pretty much everything. A couple of quick little things before we go. I do bring some things that are, what would I say? I would call them sort of extras. If I had been a good girl, and I had very carefully spent my weight, and I have an extra pound. I always try to aim for that. I aim for 15 pounds rather than 16 pounds because then I have my sort of crazy weight. I have that extra sort of, well, it's sort of like going to the grocery store and buying that bag of chips that you really don't need. You know, it's kind of that sinful pleasure. What is that sinful pleasure that I'm going to put into my bag that I don't really need it, but I really want it? And I've got some ideas of things you might not really need that you might want, and if you've been good, you might have the room. I bring one of these. Do you know what that is? That is a hot water heater. Don't think it's something it isn't. It's a hot water heater. Not that kind of girl. I bring this, and I bring a mug. And the mug is really a fun one, if I can find it. I bring a titanium coffee mug. Oh, which you can't see here. But I bring this in a little titanium coffee mug. The mug weighs 4 ounces. This weighs about 2 ounces. And then I can make myself hot tea and coffee in my room in the morning and before I go to bed, which is really a pleasure in the wintertime. I don't bring it in the summertime, but in the wintertime I will. Also, if I'm working and I don't want to go out to dinner, I go to the grocery store and I get instant soup that I can eat in my hotel room. That may sound weird and tacky, but that's fun. So that's what I like to get. Also, my biggest sinful pleasure is the one that takes up the most room and I will never travel without. And this bag, I told you, it was less than 16 pounds. It was probably about the 14 mark. And that includes my most important item, my full-size pillow. I cannot sleep in a hotel with really bad stiff pillows, so this is always, always in my bag. Could you have even guessed that this was in my bag at the beginning of the show? No, and that's because it's a down pillow. It squeezes down to nothing. I bought the cheapest down pillow that I could find at Bed Bath & Beyond. It was 20 bucks. It doesn't have a lot of down fill in it, but I bring this on the plane with me to keep me nice and cozy in the airplane, and I have it with